Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me here in Fallout 4. We are in Lexington today, so I thought it would be fun. There's quite a few kind of small locations dotted about the town of Lexington that you might have missed. Obviously, more often than not, when you come here, you're coming here either to do the quest where you kill the raiders at Corvega assembly plant, or you are coming here to do tradecraft for the railroad, where there's a secret government facility located under the Slocum's Joe donut shop. But there's a few other fun little spots in here that are worth visiting. I would strongly advise caution, because, well, actually, yeah, you can see the first time you come here, there's a guy up there in power armor, and he also tends to use a fat man. So if you get spotted by him, you will get nuked if you're not careful. And yeah, if you're over level 40, actually a behemoth shows up. So it's not the safest location. It's also usually poaching with feral ghouls. But there's a couple of fun little locations dotted about here that are kind of interesting. So I thought we'd start here. This is the Faded Glory Laundromat, which Faded Glory is a bit of an interesting name choice for a laundromat, because generally when you wash clothes and they fade, people don't tend to like that happening, understandably. But anyway, that's the name of this place, and it's unsurprisingly full of washing machines and tumble dryers. It's a laundry. It's a laundromat. There is an overdue book here, and you know, some other random odds and ends. Got a little office here. Just some of the usual kind of junk and stuff that you can find lying around in a lot of places, and that takes you back out. Oh, there's donut mix in the dryer. That's quite funny. You know, a couple of customers that have sadly passed away while doing laundry, which is unfortunate. But yeah, more donut mix. Jeez, oh, it's a lot of donut mix here. Was Slocum's Joe using this place as a storage warehouse or something? Yeah, that's one of the kind of creation club things, that there's you can make your own Slocum's Joe donut shops, and then you can find donut mix all over the Commonwealth. But the kind of funny, not really funny, but funny thing is not that. We've got the espresso tin in the dryer. Yes, this one here. So we'll have a look at the full list there. So there's one of these dryers that has the entire human skeleton. We've got skull, right leg bones, right hand bones, right foot bones, right arm bones, ribcage and spine, pelvis, and then all the left legs, hands, arms and bones there. So yeah, questions need to be asked about that. I mean, you do have to, oh, not for the shopping basket, you do have to be cautious with washing machines and tumble dryers with small animals and children that can sneak in when you're not looking, and then end up not having a good time. But yeah, so not a big location, but it is kind of funny that there is an entire human skeleton that's been shoved into one of the dryers. This is the bank, and unsurprisingly, the thing that you can find most often is pre-war money. Not massively surprising, I don't think. But we can get into the vault by using the terminal. So open the door. And yeah, this place has been cleaned out, but we do have this fun little set piece. So we've got some pre-war money, skeleton hanging over the edge of a big hole in the wall, where they appear to have dropped a duffel bag full of pre-war money and some more, and then this guy. So clearly we're in the middle of a heist and perished. Oh, excuse you. Hi. Just snuck up on me there. Yeah, so unfortunately these people perished mid-heist. I say crime crime doesn't pay. Crikey, they're everywhere. But yeah, so again, a lot of it is just fun little kind of set pieces and things that they've set up that I do quite enjoy. But there is a set of apartments that has an interesting couple of things, yeah. Oh, it's like, who owned that door? Yeah, we've got a little kind of hardware store that doesn't really have much going on, a few random bits and pieces. A liquor store, which doesn't have much of a store left. There is a way, yeah, you can actually get into Corvega through that pipe, but you have to be careful of the guy with the mini nuke launcher, the fat man. This is the preservation shelter I was looking for, so there is one of these Beluski preservation shelters. Obviously, I think people were having a bit of a fight for it, and this guy got it, and he's passed away hugging a mini nuke. But yeah, so there's a couple of like kind of apartment buildings and houses that are a bit wrecked that you can go into, and then there's this place here. This is Mystic Pines. Yeah, so this is Mystic Pines here, which is a pre-war retirement home where unfortunately most of the staff and residents have sadly passed away while in residence. That is quite a stockpile of Nuka-Cola there, though. I'm not going to complain about that. So yeah, you've got the usual kind of stuff. They've got some fun Halloween decorations up. There's some wheelchairs and stuff like that. And we do have kind of a few rooms that we can explore here, obviously, where the residents must have been staying. There's one that's now here forever. Yeah, kind of courtyard here. There's a greenhouse, so there are a couple of things. We've got this kind of locked storage space that has some medical supplies in it. Another resident room, some bathrooms, little kind of kitchen area. Bedrooms for the residents. So there is, I must have already picked up on this save file, but there is a Tales of Junktown jerky vendor here next to where this lantern is. And there should be a way. Yeah, this one here. Yeah, so we've got this locked door.
Yes.
Which leads us into another storage area, and if we head down the stairs, you can grab a fusion core from the generator. Again, I've already done that on this save file. We also have a coffin. It's not to ask too many questions about that, but there we go. There is also a set of power armor hidden here to the northeast under the water, so it's near a crashed vertibird. There. I don't care about the checkpoint. Brotherhood can handle themselves, I'm quite sure. So yeah, we've got this like crashed vertibird here. And yeah, we've got a set of power armor. It's very incomplete one, right enough, but there is another fusion core in it, so you know, nice to have, and certainly if you come across it earlier in the game, it's quite useful. Less useful to my character now, but here we are. So we're going to head into the Super Duper Mart that's here. Again, it's one that probably people will have ventured into, especially if you're coming here from Fallout 3 and you're recognising the name. But there is a wee bit of an interesting kind of background to this place, because if you talk to, obviously when you talk to Preston Garvey and everybody about what happened to them when the Minutemen kind of imploded and they basically were trying to find a new place to settle after the Quincy massacre, and one of the places they stopped was here in Lexington, and they ended up being chased out by the ferals, so they actually were going to set up shop here at the Super Duper Mart. There is also a real sign here which is warning of the danger. There's an ice cooler, and we've got actually quite useful. We've got 4 canisters of Mr. Handy Fuel, which is quite nice. I double checked because I made a mistake. It's not the car parking, it's the this here, the loading dock. Obviously this is where the deliveries would go. So just do a little bit of hacking. Tries reset's not really that helpful when I'm not tried anything yet.
Got it.
There we go. Yep. Open the door. There we go. And oh look, there's more ferals. Are you okay? Are you dead? Yeah, you're dead. There she is. So yep, we've got the. But look, so you can find a total of 3 laser muskets here because we've got 3 dead Minutemen that we can find. So this is Emma, and she has a holotape on her as well, which we'll have a wee listen to once we have found her friends, and then we can head inside the actual store. So yeah, this takes us into the kind of basement in the back room of the shop, and again, yet more feral ghouls where there's a bunch of like Nuka-Cola and teddy bears and all the usual kind of stuff that you would expect to find in, you know, the back of a supermarket. It's obviously kind of warehouse and storage. Oh geez, they're all waking up. Right, out the road. Steamer trunk. Infusion cells. Presumably left behind by our Minutemen friends. Right, you know what? Problem solved. Okay, I would have been fine to live and let live if you didn't just keep getting in my way. Like... yeah. Yeah, it's looking a bit worse for wear. The shopping basket just went flying. Right, go away. Ghouls. Too many ghouls. That was kind of a fun echo there. But yeah, so we've got some dead people, we've got some soon to be dead ghouls. You know, kind of what you'd expect to see in a supermarket, really. We've got this locked room here, so there's 2 more Minutemen bodies to find here. Come on, come on. There we go.
Sweet.
Yeah, I've got this little cafeteria. This is probably like staff bathroom / locker room kind of a deal. Office with the terminal. I don't remember if there's anything on this terminal. Oh, there is. No, there is a funny note here. Hang on. Yeah, so apparently they had an issue with an employee named Sally who'd been complained about a lot, so they sacked her and then installed an espresso machine on top of her desk, but apparently the machine was too noisy. So, you know, office politics and all that, and there's a teddy bear in a cage. Because obviously, but you know, you've got a lot of your kind of normal bits and pieces of loot. Here's the espresso machine on Sally's desk. Seems a little bit petty, but whatever. Fair enough. You know. But yeah, more storage rooms and stuff here. What I'm looking for is the pharmacy department. And I don't remember where it is. This is the deli. Okay. Another employees only room.
That's it.
Kinda looks like it could be a pharmacy. There's some Radex. Yeah, we've got another laser musket. And more fusion cells and other ammo and stuff. Yep. I mean, one thing that's possible is that the bodies that we're looking for have despawned. Yeah, because that's the pharmacy. Yeah, we have some medics on you. Yeah, so there's another one, another body who is Anthony, but he appears to have despawned. But he's in the pharmacy, so that's why there's another laser musket there. So he was one of the Minutemen that died here. And then finally, there is a Tales of Junktown jerky vendor on the magazine rack in front of the pharmacy. Again, it's possible that I have already picked it up previously, because this is like my original playthrough character, so she has explored a lot of places already. Oh, hello. Yep, we've got a bunch of ghouls in the cafe, and then we've got some telephones and the tills. And there is one more Minuteman that we want to find. I was in the right place, so Josh can be found in the room where the steamer trunk is. But yeah, so Josh, there's the laser musket. Never mind, I should have seen that. So yeah, Josh, the final Minuteman that died here, would normally be found here, but it is a known bug that sometimes he just doesn't spawn in. His laser musket is here, and he does have another holotape. So we'll listen to the one from Emma first, and then we can listen. I can kind of paraphrase or tell you what the other one says. So, miscellaneous. At least D's not too far down the alphabet. Here we go. Emma's holotape.
What the hell is Josh doing? He's been gone for over an hour. We need to get out of here. The guys are thinking we're already at Concord. If Josh would hurry his ass up, maybe we can get there in time. Shit! Gunfire! Not good! Josh!
Yeah, so it's quite a panicky message from Emma there. So basically, what happened is that they had gone out, presumably they were looking for food or something like that, and then returned to find that everybody else had left and that they had a big fight with the ferals. And they came back and they found Anthony, who also despawned. He was dead, and they wanted to retrieve his body and just check some things, and then so he asked Emma to wait in the loading docks for him, and then she recorded that and presumably was then killed by the ferals. So Josh, his holotape would say that he came back yesterday with Emma. Everyone's gone. Looked like they left in a hurry and had one hell of a fight. Feral corpses everywhere. Emma and I searched for anything that might tell us where they went. Only thing we found was Anthony. It must have been bad. They never would have left his body there. I sent Emma down to the loading docks to wait for me while I check on some things. We won't stay long. Just want to get Anthony's body and wait. The ferals are back. So yeah, basically they were overwhelmed and everybody else had to flee, and that's how they ended up being just the 5 of them, and then they got trapped in the Museum of Freedom in Concord, and we know the rest of the story that happens there. But like the Super Duper Mart in Fallout 3, this location is, aside from the 5 bajillion feral ghouls, there's a lot of useful bits and pieces, a lot of junk items. You can find at least 2 Nuka-Cola Quantums and 3 Nuka Cherries here, as well as a lot of junk food, pre-war money, shopping baskets, and other random odds and ends that you might want to take to break down for scrap. There is a robot you can activate, although I don't think he tends to do too well against the ferals for very long. But it's kind of an iconic location, I think, as well, to have the Super Duper Mart, and it's kind of fun. Fallout 3.1 was obviously full of raiders, while this one's full of the ghouls, but so is pretty much all of Lexington. So slightly jump scared by that crow there, but never mind. Yeah, so I like the Super Duper Mart. It's kind of an iconic location, given that it's probably one of the earliest places most of us ventured to in Fallout 3 when we started playing that game, because Moira Brown sends us there, obviously. And here it definitely has, you can actually find when Preston tells you about how there was 20 of them and then there was 8 and now there's only 5, but you can then find, more evidence of that because you can find them in the different places that they went to, and you can basically track the progression of the Minutemen from what happened to them. And it's easy to overlook a lot of these locations, I think, in Lexington, because it's kind of a dangerous place to venture into, especially so early in the game, because there's feral ghouls literally everywhere. Then you've got the raider up on that bridge that has the fat man, and if he catches sight of you, you better get out dodge fast. And generally, I say the quests that send you here tend to be for the Corvega assembly plant or for the switchboard stuff with the railroad with Deacon. But there is quite a few other little bits and pieces to explore. There's also a couch in the middle of this little kind of, I don't know, is it big enough to call it a park? Whatever this thing is here, this little grassy bit, there's a couch in the middle of it because, why not? There is another red rocket here. We do see them all over the place. This one's a bit smaller than the one up at Sanctuary. But yeah, it's quite an interesting little location. and there's definitely more than meets the eye if you dig into it properly, but you might have to go in and clear out all the ferals and all the raiders before you can explore it relatively safely. But it's worth your time, because there's a few fun set pieces. I do like the fact that the bank was in the process of being robbed when the bombs fell and stuff like that. I think it does add a wee bit more flavour to the background and the backdrop of the place. So yeah, that is a quick tour of some of the smaller locations in Lexington that you might not have visited or paid much attention to. Yeah, there's Corvega up there, so it's definitely worth your time having a little bit of a look around. There's so many like billboards and things. Then we've got the Boston Bugle on the side of that building there. Yeah, it's fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we'll be back next week with some more fun locations in the Commonwealth, and hopefully you'll come back and join me on Saturday. We are doing the survival mode, Everybody Survives but the Institute playthrough, and we are hopefully going to be heading down to Concord to clear out the Museum of Freedom and take on the Deathclaw and get Sanctuary properly set up and running so that we can start building our cooperative empire across the Commonwealth. So hopefully you'll come back for that. It does promise to be a lot of absolute chaos, so it should be quite fun. And I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.